Hello, I'm Dark Notch.
Hi, I'm Aaron, and I've got a tournament on Sunday.
So we need to build a deck, and unlike normal, we're not going to do the crazy choose your faction, choose your agenda, back and forth. Since Aaron has to play the deck, he gets to choose both.
Right. So I'm going out for a friend's birthday Saturday night. I'm going to be hungover Sunday. I know Lannister likes the back of my hand. I play a ton of Lannister, and Baratheon adds the simple meal module. So I'm going to vote that that's what we build. And since apparently only my vote counts this week, that's what we're building.
Done.
So let's start with Baratheon cards as usual,
Absolutely.
or
Uh,
we start with the Banner House.
yeah, and here we are with
Um,
some characters from Baratheon. First is a cheap two-cost character with the power and military bastard in hiding.
It's actually really good for Lannister. I don't know how much people notice, given that Tywin and Tyrion have power icons, but not many, and the Hound, but not many others within Lannister do. So I like two Bastard in hiding.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think they're Lannister's super starving for small power chuds to chump block or to slip in that unopposed. Bastard and Honey really fits in well there. We
It's
almost
one of the reasons the Tumblestone Knight is so good in Lanny Wolf.
we almost always include three of the one costers just for claim soak for a little bit of resource acceleration. I'm guessing the same here, right?
Always. We are including the meal module,
That
so
means
that
three
means
fiery followers.
every followers. A military intrigue 3 for 2 that stands itself at dominance is good even without that, but with it, it's great. Okay, so now I'm going to be a little bit weird, and I'm going to argue for the King's Hunting Party.
I don't think it's that weird. I mean, I don't know if the viewers have watched our previous games, but we played Adrian and he was playing a Baratheon deck against, I think we were playing Target at the time. And that hunting party gave us all kinds of problems. That 6 strength for 4 cost is a really good ratio. Um, I like it a lot. It's easy to push through, put to the sword with them. What are you thinking, 2?
I'm thinking 2. I think 3 is too many, especially at 4 cost, which is a little awkward, and I think I'd rather have one Davos than the third, but I like 2 just for that, exactly for that put to the sword, and because it allows me to use like a Tywin or a Hound a little bit earlier, and trust that I can have them to defend and stop an opposing put to the sword.
Master Cressen is awesome in removing those conditions. I,
Yep,
I
certainly 2.
yeah, I figure that we're running to, um, having your milk to the poppy is just so depressing. And there's actually some other annoying conditions that float around. So,
The
Melisandre,
bodyguard condition. Wait, let's discuss that condition thing for a moment, because I
sure.
think that's important. A lot of people might not realize that bodyguards are a condition,
Yep.
and in addition, so are all the different icon granting attachments. So having Crescent be able to just wipe those out is excellent.
Yep. Strip away those icons, get rid of bodyguards is very good. Um, Melisandre, you said you wanted the Neo module, so she's 3 of.
Yep, of course, she is functionally the main natural.
Yep. I,
I don't think we need my Rattleshirts Raiders.
well, we're just looking at Baratheon here, so Renly,
I like Renly, but we're not on Renly.
I don't think you're gonna have room for him here. I agree. He's got Tricon is nice, but um,
He's 6 for 4. If he were 6 for 5, we'd start to talk.
yeah, I don't think you need Selyse Baratheon because you have so many intrigue icons in Lannister.
Uh, you are confused, sir. We need a one of.
Oh, because she's
She has
Raoul. Yes,
Zillow.
yes. The R'hllor
Uh,
trait is basically the only
Raoul
reason you're
is
running
how
her. And
Raoul
it,
is how John says it.
yeah,
Raoul is our good friend Rabs. Hi, Rabs.
and this is the
Rabs
Raoul
watches.
trait because it's an awesome trait. It's
And
very
then I had
Spanish.
a joke that I stopped because we're on YouTube. Let's move on. Remind me of that later, Rabs. Oh,
So we'll put one of for her trait basically because she's not a good character in this deck.
right. Sir Davos needs to be a one of because him ducking claim with stealth is excellent.
Yeah, stealth is very good. Um, I like Shireen, one of. I mean, she's 2 cost, gives you a little bit more Neil. What do you think?
Oh, 100% yes.
Okay.
And then I think we're done. I don't think we run the Vanguard Lancer because I'd rather have a third Bastion hide before I go there.
Yeah, the Vanguard Lancers are more about stalling out your opponent. I don't think you need that in this particular version of the deck. So I agree. I think you're done. Let's move on to attachments from Baratheon.
That's only King Robert's Warhammer. Do you want it?
I mean, I've seen this baby on Tywin,
Do you
and
think they represent?
it's scary on Tywin, but I don't know if it's worth it in
I
this
like
deck.
it. I don't think it's worth it. It's
Yeah,
really good on Tywin. I think the King's Hunting Party can take weapons. Like, it's got its uses. It's just, I don't know. I'd generally rather not.
yeah. I think we'll go away from it here. Take a look at the locations. What do you think of the Chamber of the Painted Table? Winning Dom and stealing power and getting that 2 power swing can be pretty vicious. You're not really a Dom deck
Lannister,
though.
Lannister really likes things to speed them up, but if we can't afford the Iron Throne, we can't afford the Painted Table, and we're not going to have space for the Iron Throne, given how tight Lannister decks get.
You are running 18 characters from Baratheon. You may actually want to consider including some Dragonstone ports.
So I would consider it, except that only one has any real, like, major cost, and even more than that, I'm Lannister.
So you believe you'll have the gold. All right.
I'm glad you were able to infer that. Okay.
Um,
Baratheon events, Scene in Flames times 3. Scene in
yeah.
Flames is one of the best events in the game. It triggers Melisandre. Even without that, being able to pull out whatever's causing trouble is phenomenal.
And there's a lot of value in not just pulling out what's causing you trouble, but actually seeing your opponent's hand. If you have a good memory, being able to know what's in their hand for the next couple turns, or at least a portion of what's in their hand, can just help you so much. You don't have to worry about them bluffing, that put to the sword or that other key event, and you can just kind of go more out, or they have it, so you can defend those key challenges. All right. So shall we look at Lannister cards?
I believe we are on to Lannister plus neutral, because we tend to do those at the same time. Want to just stick with events since we're here?
Sure.
Well, free put to the sword,
All right. And then treachery.
free treachery. I don't think this deck wants things I do for love as much. I might actually prefer Hand's Judgment because we have an extra major character to protect.
I like Hand's Judgment. We're at 9 events. What do we want to run? 2 hands?
I think Shoot is the right number, yes.
Okay, because I don't think we want to go over 11 events. That makes things a little tough.
Yeah. I'm willing to generally see 12 because I mean I think 12 doesn't mess you up too bad as a rule, but 11's fine. Lower is better. 10 seems to be the magic number.
We kind of jumped right over put to the sword. We just said 3 of, and I just clicked and said, oh yeah, 3 of, that's good. But there's actually
Oh,
reasoning behind that, right? It's the fact that Lannister can actually generate a lot of gold in the challenge phase um, through Tyrion, for instance, and that allows them to pay for these put to the sword, these higher cost events more easily than other factions. And so because of that, it's a great card
by
here.
mid, yeah, by mid game, Tywin has given you so much gold too that you run out of stuff to play, but you just realize you can keep things in hand and be patient, and that those 15, 16 strength Tywins are fairly good at pushing forward, put to the sword too.
Yeah, add in some Neil from Melisandre, you're going to be able to probably pretty consistently get, win by 5 strength in mid game.
King's Hunting Party, Hound, Jaime,
Yeah,
lots of reasons. This deck might like Jaime a little more than most monster decks do. Alright, let's go to those characters since we're talking about them. Let's take it from the top.
I don't think we're doing burn bin. I think we get better characters out of Baratheon at that cost.
Agreed 100%, but we are doing a Cersei.
She's a great 4 cost character. Raise that intrigue claim. She's equal cost to strength, and I agree. I don't like the gold cloaks.
Wait.
Honestly,
I want to talk a little more about Cersei. I think we're going a little fast.
sure, yeah,
Um,
no, let's
so,
do that.
intrigue I think is a little overrated right now as a general rule, but Cersei gives us that her claim functionally forces defense if your opponent has anything decent in hand that they're not ready to play out. Like your opponent sort of has to overcommit with Cersei on the board to either board presence or defense, and that makes Cersei really good.
Yeah, and if you ever have a 2 claim plot revealed, she can just threaten that intrigue so strongly.
No gold plates, you're right.
I don't. Have you found that these guys are good at all, really?
Gold plates? No, but someone in my meta plays them with fortified position, and I think that's entertaining at the very least.
Sure, entertaining. So now you're ambushing 2 for 3 costs. They're still horrible on setup, and they're still only 3 strong for 4 if you get to play them normally. So I guess
Oh,
good on
okay.
them with the fortified, but
Yeah, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's a bad card. I just don't think it's like Lannister has good cards. So
Yeah. Master Pycelle. Draw is good, I hear. Um,
one
and
of
to keep that Neil module going, you really need a strong draw base, and you can't be relying on the Baratheon's power challenge based draw. I think Joffrey's a good character. I don't think it fits in this deck.
we have kill, but we don't have enough kill, and I'm almost certain we're not running Wildfire given how many key characters we have.
Yeah,
So I don't think Joffrey is a good decision. Merchant 3 elf, we don't really have to hit that
explain
every
why.
single
Yeah,
time. Moneylender, I'm not particularly a fan of. If we have the extra space, I'm willing to come back and look at them because we are running a lot of out of house stuff, so gold is more useful than reduction. But he's not great for setup, which really limits how much I want him given that limited keyword.
yeah. I think we'll look at the number of limited locations we play and then come back to him. I agree with that. I don't
We
think we
have
run Littlefinger, right? We have enough high cost characters. We're going to add some more.
we're running confiscation for on-demand removal, so we're probably not running rattle shirts. We already have Cressen as our backup attachment removal.
Yep.
Two Jaime or three? I usually run two. I like that he stands and he's basically like a free flip of the sword activation. That renown is really good at speeding up Lannister. Two is nice because if you're going second, he's just significantly less good. This deck might want to go second. It's probably not running the initiative too, so he helps force that. And we've got a really good military presence. I'm tempted to go three with this deck.
I want to see the rest of our cost curve. Let's put him in 2 and we'll come back to him and maybe we'll bring him up to 3-2 depending on how many characters we have.
Okay.
Uh,
The Hound is one of the best characters in the game.
yeah, I mean, I think he's at least a 2 of, maybe a 3 of in this
I
deck.
I like him at two of. I tend not to like him at three.
Okay.
Um, I mean, I'm not sad when I have a third, but I'm fine with two of.
Alright, let's go with 2. Queen's Assassin. You like these guys, right, Aaron?
I do. If your opponent runs Wildfire, because I usually don't, Queen's Assassin can straight up win you the game. Opponents with Wildfire on a small board, you draw into this, you've been drawing well. If they haven't, you play Queen's Assassin, their Claim Soak is now dead, and you've got a great position.
So, and they're good on setup, like you were saying. They're 2 costs for 2. They're not limited like the money lenders, which is the bad part of their setup. I'm okay with 2 of these. What do you think?
Yeah, three is too much giving their I being monocons, but two is right.
Speaking of bicons and not monocons, we're going to run a tickler, right, to make sure we can do treachery.
Tickler is great for treachery, and sometimes you just don't need to use Tickler, and you get to tickle opponents a bunch of dominance.
Yeah.
It's generally not going to hit a big guy. If it does, huzzah. What it's mostly going to hit is resource locations, and choking your opponent out of those mid game can be really good.
Yeah. So both Tyrion and Tywin are the monsters of Lannister. They're the reasons you play Lannister. Um, so 3 of each.
We've reached no point in going further in that discussion.
So that gives us 36 characters. That's a pretty good character count. So
Uh,
we said we go back to Jaime.
no,
Um,
two's right. 37's too many.
okay. So we're gonna keep 2 because of the 36.
Our current cutting block, I believe, is Queen's Assassin, as much as I like them.
Yeah. But right now we don't need to cut. Let's talk locations. So I think we're running 3 Rose Roads, 3 Kings Roads, 2 or 3 Western Fiefdoms, right?
Western Fiefdom.
3 or 2?
Two.
You said do 2.
Yeah, I generally do two in my Banner Lannister decks.
So I think in most decks you run 3 of each of those types of reducers. Now in this case, Lannister has Tywin Lannister and Tyrion to generate gold at different times. Whether it's just +2 gold straight up or gold during the challenge phase. So it means that you can actually get away with less limited and less of these locations. Uh, so I'm fine with that. How about a wheelhouse?
A singleton is good because we'd like to go second, because Neil, besides Robert, likes to go second. And then two Lannisport,
Yeah, draw's good. Draw's important. So
11 locations.
we're at 11 locations. I want to talk a little bit about Casterly Rock. This location is better than people think. It Lannister has a lot of problems I find mid-game getting enough power to close out, and sometimes that extra intrigue challenge can really pay off. Now in this deck, I'm unsure if it would be super useful, but I just wanted to highlight that I actually think it's a good card.
I think it's a good card. I did in the first. It's really great for generating that extra power, but Melisandre kneeling certain icons to get us unopposed should do the same job.
Exactly. So I'm good just leaving it. Um, so we got
You're at
two cards.
we're at three because this is my deck. So two Widow's Veil is nice and easy, but I also want two Seal of the Hand, so we have to cut someone else. Actually,
Well,
what three Seal of the Hand, but I'll settle for two.
okay. I'm agreement with Widow Whale. The nice ambush is super. It's great. You know, it pops in, gives you that extra strength. The seal fits great with some of these big characters that you have, to kind of give you that extra control. And we already said what we're going to cut, right? When we were talking about characters, we said that if we had to cut something, it was going to be a Queen's Assassin. So I think we should go back there and chop the Queen's Assassin. What do you think?
Down to one of one
Yep.
Queen's Assassin for 61 cards. I think that is absolutely fine. Now the only question is just around the edges, and testing will show this more clearly. But for discussion's sake, a third Bastard sighting or that Queen's Assassin,
A third, sorry, what?
a third Bastard hiding or
Oh,
that Queen's Assassin.
yeah. My gut actually says Bastard in Hiding.
Yeah, mine does too. I
Oh,
feel like your odds of seeing that one card that has the kill at the right time aren't great, and I'd rather just have the extra good body.
all right, then I think that's what we'll do.
61 cards. Now on to plots.
But I mean, if someone told me that they had chosen to, you know, do the one Queen's Assassin, I wouldn't.
There's a lot. There's a ton of decisions around the edges that could happily go either way.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it would be a misplay or anything.
All right. In Lannister deck, I always run Calm of Westeros. I mean, I run it in a lot of decks, but in Lannister deck in particular,
Okay.
because that key setup of Tywin plus that one drop, Calm of Westeros helps protect you against things going wrong in that turn.
So I'm gonna just give this to Aaron with no argument or anything because this is his favorite plot in the whole game,
It's
and
really
he
not. I
has to
don't.
play it. So we'll put it down because he likes to open with that like 80% of the time.
Yeah, it's actually really not my favorite plot. I think it's kind of a mediocre plot. I just think that where the game is right now with such high variance, that having that ability to stabilize yourself early is very, very important.
You have a lot of ladies and lords, so I think a noble cause is really your economy plot of choice here.
I agree.
All right, I'm gonna put that in then. Um, I know, you know, your playstyle and you love the march to the wall because it punishes people making early mistakes. So I feel like you're going to want to include it in
I
this deck.
think I'm keeping it out. I don't think I want
Wow.
Mark.
All
So
right.
I run Mark. This will be one of the very, very few decks I don't run Marched, and Marched is, I think, is one of the two or three best plots in the game right now. Um, we've only got one kill card. Their
Good.
boards are going to be big.
Yeah.
Like, we're not running anything to return town. We're not running things I do for love.
You're not
Uh,
running wildfire because you have too many key characters.
yeah, so I'm not sure what Mark is hitting without a wildly, like, insane mistake from an opponent. So I'm okay cutting that.
So you're actually going to want to think more like a Baratheon player and run filthy then to
Um,
kneel
I'm
out that one key character that's giving you problems.
probably going to want to run one Filthy, but not yet because I definitely want both summons and counting coppers.
Yeah, you're going to need summons to find that key Melisandre probably, and you're going to want counting coppers to refill your hand and keep those Raoul cards coming.
Rabo, which leaves us with two free plots. Oh wait, excuse me, we're running confiscation. Yes, did I say
We definitely
confiscation?
talked about that. We said we had to have confiscation. I've got one free plot now because I have filthy accusations in.
I added filthy too. I can't take
All right, we got one free plot.
that.
Now,
And that's nothing I'm crazy about.
do you want more
So,
control? Do you want more money?
are we running calling the banners?
We're not.
We just decided that we're not killing much, so that extra gold seems like a really good idea.
That's it. So we have to decide, like I said, between the control or the gold. Now, you're Lannister, you might have gold, but sometimes you don't see those key gold generators, and calling can be that backup plan. So I'm
I'm yeah. I really like the idea of having 3 5 gold. I've said this a million times. 3 plots that will generate 5 plus gold. Noble cause, Calmer Westeros, calling the banners. That leaves confiscation, summons, and guilty at 4, counting coppers as our lone local plot.
and I
As
think
it's as
you have a deck.
I do have a deck.
You come back and you tell us how that went.
I will if I can figure out how to record. I will try and record some games from there as well.